I faintly remember the first time I talked on Z100. In my headphones, it was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. It hurt. It was so loud. But I tell you, hearing my voice booming around in my headphones changed everything in my life. And I'll never forget that first moment. And I realized I'm on Z100. And my life was forever changed. I'll never forget that moment. We've had so many guests on our show, and being on Z100, you have access to a lot of people. I think the most unexpected guest was one day Arnold Schwarzenegger was down the hall doing an interview at another station, and my producer TJ ran in and said, "Let's go get him." And I said, No. I'm not prepared. I don't know what to say to him. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't bring him in. And the next thing I know, the door opens and in walks Arnold. I'm like, holy crap. What are we going to do? He sat down, and his energy alone ran the interview. It was just add water and stir, man. It was one of the most unexpected but fantastic interviews we've ever done. I really enjoyed that. Most unforgettable interview, I believe, was Lady Gaga, the first time she came to see us, where she walked through the door, and we were like, holy crap. Once again, there's Lady Gaga. But she said the same thing to us because she grew up listening to us. She said, I can't believe I'm here listening to your voices in the same room as you. I'm thinking, us? You're Lady Gaga. What do you mean about us? This is not about us. This is about you. She said, no, it's about you. And having me on as a guest today is probably the moment I'll never forget. And we'll never forget her unforgettable moment at all as well. So there you go, Gaga. I think my favorite interaction with listeners, well, I have many favorite interaction moments with listeners. One of my favorites, the people who are in the car stuck in traffic on their way to chemotherapy, on the way to go to their chemo session, knowing they're going to feel like total hammered dog crap within moments after they stick those needles in. And they call us to say, hey, you're lightening my mood. You're making me feel better. Thank you. And we actually call it the Chemo Club. All of our chemotherapy listeners who are listening every morning, they rely on us because they know exactly what it's going to feel like moments later. And they need for us to be there just to give them that extra little kick in the ass and make them feel like, hey, you know what? It's going to be okay. We're going to be back here tomorrow morning. So you're going to get through this day. You're going to be sick as a dog, but we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be reliable. Unless it's a Friday. We won't be on a Saturday. Sorry about that. We'll see you on Monday. The toughest on-air moment was opening the microphone on September 12th, 2001, the day after what happened in Manhattan and in Pennsylvania and at the Pentagon. Of course, 9/11 was just a nightmare for all of us. And opening the microphone for the first time thinking, well, who am I to go on the air and talk to these people who are afraid and hurting and sad and angry? Who am I to do that? That was the toughest moment. But the moment after that was the most rewarding. We understood what we are all supposed to do. Our assignment is to be here to serve the public. Plain and simple. We're here to be there for other people, to guide them to safety, to make them feel good about where they're going that day. Let them know that, hey, we're here for you. We're here for you, whatever you need. And that was the most rewarding moment. So those two moments working in tandem with each other, the most important moments of my career. I don't really have regrets in my life. Maybe I should start regretting things. Maybe it'll make me a better person. But I've always been close to regretting the moments I've ruined the endings to movies. For instance, I think the Sex and the City movie came out and I hopped on board the next day and went, oh my God, I can't believe Big died. Oh, hell broke loose. People were calling and storming up to the station to burn me. Like, you gave away the ending to this film. And I went, oh God. I don't think there's any interviews I want to redo. The only reason you want to redo an interview is because it was bad. And if it was a bad interview, I don't want to talk to them ever again anyway. So I think a challenge that radio people don't always see, and I know we're all guilty of it, is sometimes over-preparing. Over-preparing, some people say you need to do. I think if you're over-prepared, you have too many notes in front of you with an interview that's going on. You're too busy thinking about your next question. You're not listening to the flow of the interview. You're not listening to the conversation. You're not listening to what they're saying as deeply as you should, because whatever they say to you gives you another question automatically. That's where the interview goes. So I think the biggest challenge we all need to work on constantly is stop overthinking. Just relax. Interview people. Interview their hearts and their passions, and they'll give you the answer every time. You know, there really isn't a radio moment in my career anyway that I want to relive, because that's the whole point. We're a live radio show. We're not pre-recorded. We're live. That moment is done. It's on and it's gone. I don't want to go back there ever again. It gave us what we needed. The energy is in the atmosphere. It's out in the universe. We don't need it anymore. I don't want to relive any moments at all on this show. I know it sounds really bad, but it's true. Let's move on to something else. I think the only tradition I like in radio, and I want it to happen every single year, is Jingle Ball. Z100's Jingle Ball it's that magic moment. It's our Super Bowl for Z100 in New York. Madison Square Garden, with artists that have played there and sold it out before, and artists who've never played there ever, walking out on that stage for the first time. The magic of the Garden with Z100 in the background. We are the hosts. That's the tradition I never, ever want to let loose of. I mean, it's the best. Here in the year 2025, how do I describe radio this year? I can't. You can't really define it until next year, really. In 2026, I can tell you about 2025. We're still working on it. My favorite thing about being a part of the iHeartRadio family is showbiz. You know, before iHeartRadio came in and taught us there's so much more to radio than radio, now we're doing things to concerts. I remember when they told us we're doing this iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas. We're all going out. We're going to put it together. I mean, what are we doing? We've never done this before. Exactly. We're going to go out there and do it ourselves. It's like, come on, let's put on a show in the barn. And we invited superstars to come perform on the stage. We learned how to do it on our own. It took time. It took us 2 or 3 years to make it work. And we're still doing it. And I think that's one of the great things about iHeartRadio. It is proven to us and to our listeners and our partners that we're much more than just radio. We're so many things. And all the other things we do other than radio makes doing the radio part all the more exciting. That's what I love about iHeart.